Hello, welcome to our webinar today. I'm happy to present our webinar about new generation of biometric attacks. My name is Lana. I'm CEO and founder of Forensics, and today I will be the moderator. But before I invite our speaker, I would like to ask all the participants to use the button Q&A and to write down the questions. We will be happy to answer them during our Q&A session. And now I'm very glad to invite Serge, our biometric expert with the big experience on a global level in IT security and informational technologies. Serge, now the stage is yours.
Thank you, Lana, and welcome everyone. Greetings from Melbourne, Australia, and good morning for those who are based in North or South America. Good afternoon for those in Europe, and good evening for us in Asia Pacific. So we'll start, and this will be a fairly quick webinar. I think we'll make it in 30 minutes. We'll start with a very brief introduction of OS Forensics and who we are and what we do. We'll then move to a pretty important question of what makes the industry different today as opposed to 2 years back. And then we will discuss and we'll drill down into the new generation of attacks, and we'll show you how those new attacks look like and how we can fight them. And then we'll speak about active versus passive liveness and which one is good and how to choose a proper one. And of course, we'll touch base on the client acquisition versus risk, and we'll discuss and showcase how a scammer can hack the biometric authentication. And then definitely we'll discuss the liveness solution must-have as to what attributes of a proper liveness solutions must be there. And we'll have, as to Lana's previous point, we'll have some time for Q&A, and we will wrap up fairly quickly. So from the OS Forensics perspective, we are a biometric and liveness fraud detection and prevention software vendor. And we are based in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. However, I'm based in Victoria, Australia. And from the clientele perspective, the clients are coming from various backgrounds, both geographically and from the industry perspective. We have a lot of financial organizations of various types and sizes, and these are banks and insurance companies and microfinance organizations, but not just limited to the finance industry. We work a lot with the governments across the globe, and we do a lot of public sector projects, as well as we are working with KYC providers, and we do have a partner network, and we are collaborating with our technology partners to build robust solutions encompassing all the aspects of cybersecurity. So if we move to this, what makes the industry different today topic, I think it's very important to start with the post-COVID era. And it is important because from my own perspective, in Melbourne, in Australia, we were in a lockdown for almost 2 years. And I was sitting at home, working from home, and I was doing a lot of things from the comfort of my own house. And I was purchasing groceries, and I was purchasing all kinds of things. But what is more important, I was doing my banking from the comfort of my house. And I was, applying for credit cards, I was applying for loans. And now that we're out of the pandemic, I don't want to make it back to the branch office of my bank. I want to do everything from my laptop or from my mobile phone. And I'm not just the only one person on earth who is, craving this comfort. Billions of people, just like myself, want to do everything from their mobile application, from their smartphone, etc. And that makes the world really different from what it used to be 2 years ago. And it does not just concerns the KYC industry or the finance industry. It's just across the board. every single industry, inclusive of public sector, is definitely changing these days. Now, the second thing is the regulation. In terms of the global regulation, we know that the legislation is evolving. If we take GDPR in Europe, which is General Data Protection Regulation, there are some new initiatives that would encompass several countries in the future. This interstate or multi-country legislative solutions will definitely take place, and they are becoming more clear in terms of their demands and what needs to be done from the processor side and the end user side. Now, number 3 is the local legislation. We know that local law is evolving and becoming more understandable for all kinds of players. We have new legislation coming up in the Philippines. We have more robust and clear legislation in Qatar, etc., etc. So those local laws are becoming more understandable, which makes it easier for the finance industry, governments, all sort of technology companies to build the biometric security solutions and make them available to their clients. However, on the downside, we do have a constantly increasing biometry and digital fraud. Like, for instance, the most recent case in Australia is with one of the leading telcos called Optus, and it's a huge deal for Australia and its citizens now. And that has something to do with the biometry and digital fraud. So the fraud is increasing, and this is why we're here. And this is why this webinar is to show you the new generation of attacks and also show you how a proper system can deal with these attacks. Now, ISO 30107-3 standard is recognizing 3 levels of presentation attacks. Level 1 is just the print or reply, which costs a potential attacker up to $30 to prepare. The level 2 is more complex, and it involves some rubber masks, which an imposter can wear on to sort of try to hack the authentication system. And level 3 is all about very expensive silicon masks that can be used to bypass a more robust system. And these will cost an imposter around $3,000. Now, from our own statistics, and we have over 1 million of liveness detections or checks per day, with an average of 0.5, 0.8% of attacks on our systems, we can say that the print and reply altogether make up almost 99% of the attacks, whereas the masks are still less than 1%. And you can, ask a question whether or not the situation will stay the same. Well, the answer is yes and no. It depends on your industry, and it will depend on what you do. If you're a microfinance organization which is giving out $100 loans, then probably mostly you will be facing prints and replies. But if you're a bigger organization, then get ready for the masks. And this is what the ISO is telling us from that presentation attacks perspective. Now, there is a new generation of attacks, and it's not the future. It's already today. It's happening today. We are facing absolutely new attacks, and these attacks are using various cameras vulnerabilities. For those types of new attacks, it is possible to deploy a deepfake or deepfake videos straight into the application, avoiding any authentication or verification mechanism. A deepfake is really hard to detect by a human eye, and even not all the algorithms or systems can detect it either. Now, the imposters can use the emulators to hack the mobile application itself. And today we will be speaking about that new generation of attacks, which is not happening just today. It started yesterday, and we will be facing those types of attacks tomorrow even more often. Let's have a look at a quick video which will show you how the attacker would use the camera to hack the system, and what will happen if you are using a proper solution.
Hi, my name is Ivan Kryachko. I'm from Oz Forensics team. I'm going to show you how our liveness detection works with deepfakes or virtual cameras. Let's start with active liveness right now with my camera and face. Now I need to smile. That is easy. You can see that the result of the test is correct. Let's check the result in our dashboard. I was not attacking, and that is why the score is very low. Low scores mean that the face is original and this is not spoofing attack. Now I'm going to attack the camera with a spoofing tool and a deepfake face. I'm going to do that with a snap camera. You can use whatever you like. Let's use active liveness now. You can see that smiling is not a problem with the spoofing tool, which allows you to replicate any gesture. But our liveness detects spoofing anyway. Let's check the result in our dashboard. And now you see that spoofing attack has high score. That means that attack was declined correctly. Try different spoofing and deepfake attacks on our demo page and rate the quality of our solution by yourself.
That was a pretty quick video showing how an imposter can use some specific application to hack the system, and how the liveness detection system can respond to it. Now, apart from the deepfakes or any type of attacks, there is another dilemma that a lot of customers, a lot of clients who are coming to us are facing. And this is a dilemma of an active versus passive liveness. Now, a lot of clients and partners are asking us as to which one is more preferable, or which one is better. Now, both active and passive liveness solutions can have cons and pros. So I thought it would be interesting for everyone to sort of explore it in more detail. Now, we'll start with an active liveness. It has upsides, and basically the main upside of an active liveness solution is that it does provide the video capability, which has an action. So your clients, your end user may be asked to make any gesture, like to smile or to blink, and any gesture like that can be treated as a consent. And then it can be used in future cases, disputable cases, for future possible litigation, etc. Now, the downside of the active liveness is that the customer's journey is increasing a big time, right? It can increase up to 5 seconds. And more so, it has a lower conversion, because from our own statistics, from 5 to 10% of clients either cannot or are not willing to make any gesture. So these are the benefits and downsides of the active liveness. From the passive liveness perspective, it's very simple. It has one process, one shot, and 1 second to go. And it does keep conversion at a very high level, as there is no action required. The downside is very obvious, though. There is no consent because there is no action. Now, if you ask us, which one is better, the answer is you need to speak to us, right? There is no short answer, but we have a great deal of knowledge and experience, and we can use that experience to tell you exactly in which case active liveness can be a good solution, or, on the other hand, passive liveness can do the job. It depends on your regulation, your regulatory environment, your business case, your industry, etc. So come and speak with us. From the active versus passive liveness trends perspective, we can see a pretty interesting picture. Now, the passive liveness checks are making up almost 91% of the total number of liveness checks. And the active liveness portion is just 9.2%, but that portion is growing. So a lot of companies and governmental organizations would like to use that the benefit of consent. Now, from the SDK's perspective, well, the web SDK is still slightly exceeding the mobile SDK usage. However, we can see a tendency of that mobile SDK usage to grow, which means that more and more companies are introducing their own applications, and they want their users to utilize those applications as opposed to just a browser. And from the on-premise versus software as a service or cloud solutions perspective, it's half-half. And it really depends on, again, your industry, how regulated it is, what are the governmental, requirements, and what are the security requirements at your organization. So you can use either of them. Now, there is one stat that does not have much to do with active versus passive liveness, but I just thought it would be really interesting for all of us to see that among our clientele, only 30% would choose liveness and biometric, whereas 70% are coming to us to ask for just liveness solution. And that poses a question of why is it so? The answer is pretty clear. From the biometric perspective, we can see a lot of government-based or state-based and state-owned biometric systems, which mandate that every market participant should use them, whereas liveness is basically up to the company. And liveness is more important for companies as it drives up the conversion rate, and it keeps companies safe. So this is why the pure liveness solution is really exceeding the liveness and biometry. A very interesting question, and a lot of clients are asking us, how will the future look like? And what can we, anticipate from the future in terms of liveness? Now, there are two things or two dilemmas that will be there from our perspective in 2 years or 5 years, and we're getting ourselves ready for those dilemmas. Number one is a dilemma of to store or not to store data. Well, the data storage creates an evidence base, right? As to my previous point, it can be used in further litigation. If you want to bring those disputable cases to court, then obviously if you show the data, this will help. But definitely there can be leakage or breaches or any, IT security imperfections that can definitely outweigh the benefits of storing. Now, if you don't store, then you are fully reliable on the technology, right? And you cannot influence any disputable results. Which leads us to the second dilemma of a digital arbitrage. So we think and we truly believe that as time goes, countries will create their own, liveness courts where companies can, bring up the disputable cases, and the governmental bodies will then see, eyeball them and decide whether or not a specific case was an attack or not an attack. And by the way, it does have both the presentation attacks and deepfakes in place, right? So it will concern everything. But there is certainly a need in digital arbitrage, and that digital arbitrage would need a very sophisticated and very, I would say, perfect deepfake recognition system, which leads us to question of how can a scammer hack that biometric authentication system, and is there any system at all that can cope with deepfakes? Now, let's have a look at another video, and this time we will have a look at a more sophisticated attack, which would be a camera injection.
Okay, let's take a moment and talk about presentation attacks as opposed to injection attacks. remember those levels 1, 2, and 3 in ISO standards. They define different types of attacks, like paper masks, like this demonstration of someone's photo from electronic devices, or maybe even silicone masks that you can put on. All these attacks have a common feature because you present something into the camera. That's why these attacks are called presentation attacks. On the other hand, we have injection attacks, which are actually not even covered by that ISO standards. They work differently. In injection attacks, an imposter either entirely bypasses whatever comes from physical camera, or somehow manipulates this video stream to make it look like something else. In one of our early videos, we demonstrated how to make an injection attack with the aid of virtual camera, with the aid of software. In this video, I will demonstrate even more complex injection attack. We will use additional hardware to replace a stream that comes from physical camera. But let's start with making sure that our system works properly and accepts real user. The system asks me to smile. Okay, we see that the system operates properly. Now it's time to make an attack. Note that for my first attempt, I was using an external HD camera. For an attack, I replace this camera with something different. This is capture card that you can buy on the market easily. There are cheaper ones like $15. There are more expensive ones like 100 or maybe more. They are used by gamers, streamers to record a video from one computer without using resources of this computer. So we will be using it in the same manner. We will transmit video stream from generated on this computer, on this additional computer, through our capture card into my laptop. And my laptop sees this capture card as a regular, just a normal external HD camera. On this computer, we have a deepfake generator that turns me into Elon Musk, as you can see here. Okay, so let's do an attack. It will be a little bit more difficult for me. As you can see, this system accepted my smile. But let's see how it will work on the back end. Okay, as you can see, the system was able to detect that this was an attack. And now just a couple of words about how the system achieves it. There are two layers of protection. One layer works within this browser, and it checks for different aspects of user environment. It would be able to detect an attack done by virtual camera, as I mentioned before. But for this particular attempt, the first layer of protection would probably miss this attack. And for these cases, we have second level of protection, which works on the server side and consists of machine learning models. These machine learning models look for traces of digital manipulation, of deepfake generation, or of transformation done by this capture card. And thus the system could detect this type of attack as well. That's what I wanted to show you today. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, now we've seen just two types of deepfakes, and definitely come to speak to us if you want to see more and want to learn more about how we fight them. Now, there are some other issues which come out when a company is choosing a liveness solution. Now, the first question that a lot of our clients trying to choose a new liveness system are facing is the unclear expectations, right? So you need to understand as to what you want to achieve. Just build some bullet points. We want this based on that business case. We want this type of liveness, and we feel that the number of verifications is X, and the frequency or RPS would be this. It will help the vendor to choose the proper solution. We will help you to build the proper system. Definitely number two is the robustness, and you obviously don't want to deal with a system which is not certified, right? So please look at certification, IBETA, INIST level 1, level 2 for ISO 30107-3. And of course, a liveness solution should be having camera spoofing detection facility. Flexibility is another issue that a lot of our clients would be, facing prior to coming to us. And there's a lot of liveness detection solutions available on the market that only have software as a service delivery method, or on premise, or maybe on device, right? But in fact, these types of liveness solution should complement each other, but not be rivals to each other, right? So you can use on device for one specific scenario, and server-based SaaS or on-premise for another. And these solutions will be complementing each other to build that, true safety and security for your business and your clients. Now, the interface, again, there should be an intuitive interface. I saw a lot of liveness solutions that are really difficult to understand for those, elderly people or people with old technology skills. So there should be some really simple way to intuitively understand how the interface works, and the interface should be helping and prompting your clients to capture. And multiple SDKs, of course, these days we're speaking about not just web, but also mobile, iOS, or that be Android. Everything should work for you, for your benefit, and for the benefit of your clients. SLAs and the tech support. Obviously, you don't want to speak to a company that has no SLAs available, or that has some really bizarre tech support facility. So please look at tech support, ask questions. Can we support you here and there? And again, we will be more than happy to share our tech support strategy and our SLAs. Scalability, last but not least, you are growing, you are entering new markets, you are building new businesses, and obviously you would like the liveness solution to grow as you grow, right? So that scalability thing is very important, and the server capacity should be there to support that further growth. Again, please talk to us and ask us questions. We have a great deal of knowledge coming from various regions, various industries, various sizes of business, public sector, private sector. We know the business very well, so we can advise you as to what the best possible liveness solution for you is. And then test with us. It's free of charge. You can test the system. You can try to spoof the system yourself, and we can support your pilot projects, integrating your our SDK with your mobile application. And then last but not least, POC with us, right? We can deliver proof of concept sort of projects, and we will be supporting you throughout the POC project we will have our engineers and tech support professionals ready and handy to support you and guide you through the entire POC process. And this is probably it for that very quick webinar today. And we are now moving to the Q&A session. And as to Lana's previous point, I know that some of you have already posed some questions, so we'll be happy to cover them off now.
Yeah, I will be happy to read some of the questions that we already have from our participants. And yes, could you please share your questions using the button Q&A? Well, the first question is it correct that level 1 attacks will be replaced by the deepfakes?
No, yes and no. It depends. But I think the future is that there will be both the presentation, old-fashioned presentation attacks, targeting maybe smaller organizations, whereas the banks and larger financial organizations or governments will be facing more of deepfakes. So that was the long answer, but the short answer is that both types of attacks will thrive, unfortunately, and this is why we're here to fight them.
Well, thank you. We do have another question from microfinancing organization. So we are a microfinance organization with a remote loan application process, approximately from 10 up to 12,000 applications per month. We have developed a mobile app for Android. What architecture and functionality would you recommend?
It depends on multiple factors, but it depends on how regulated your industry is. It depends on which regions you are in. It can be a cloud solution, or it can be an on-prem. For smaller type of organizations, probably cloud delivery model would be more beneficial because it's simpler and it's easier to implement. But again, it depends on your requirements. And this is why we keep saying, please come and speak with us. And we'll be happy to definitely offer you the best possible solution.
Well, thank you. We have another question from the participant. Do you have a demo?
Yes, we do. And
yeah, could you? Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to ask my assistant to share the link to all the participants, which can help you to get the demo. Thank you. The next question, as we see, the attackers are developing new methods of spoofing. Does it mean we need to upgrade our Liveness solution or purchase a new one every year?
Oh, definitely not. But what you need to do is to look for a solution provider who can support you today and tomorrow, right? So any Liveness solution should be future-proof and should be ready to fight both the presentation attacks, injection attacks, attacks of today and tomorrow and after tomorrow. And we are the professionals who are thinking of not just today, but the long-distance future.
Wow, thank you. The next questions, we provide an attendance solution for companies with remote employers. Liveness is something that we may use in our application. Do you offer technologies partnerships so we can use your Liveness components in our solution?
Definitely, yes. We are open for partnerships. We do have a specific section on our website that you can just visit and have a look at a very succinct summary of what we offer. But long story short, we definitely can support your time and attendance solutions, and our Liveness detection module can be embedded into your application. So there are different types of partnerships. We are open and flexible, so please come and speak to us.
Well, we do have the questions again. To deploy a liveness solution for ATMs, do you think connective liveness is better than the passive one? So this question, I would like to welcome our technical expert, Yuri. Yuri, you can join. Could you please join us and answer this question?
Yep. Hello, everyone. Actually, for ATMs, I would recommend using passive liveness because it's much easier for people that are coming to ATM to withdraw cash. As you remember, Serge mentioned that the main drawback of passive liveness is that there's no a kind of explicit consent. And this is not a problem with ATMs. If a person came to ATM, this is already means that the person wants to withdraw cash or do some other operation. So there's no, arguments in favor of active liveness. And yeah, as we both mentioned.
Thank you. And I think, Yuri, another question is also for you. Why do we need to perform server-side verification when verification can be performed on mobile device too?
I think we've lost Yuri, so I'll probably take that one. On-device liveness is very simple and very handy when it comes to, if you want just a quick liveness check. The liveness verification is happening on the device and nothing is going to the server. But if you want to store the statistics, store the data or the outcomes of the checks, and you want a more sophisticated liveness check, then obviously the server-side liveness would be more beneficial. Now, a lot of our clients are using on-device liveness when it comes to areas, serving areas with poor satellite or mobile reception. Those clients that are using liveness for sort of more sophisticated processes or part of more sophisticated processes, they would be using server-side.
Thank you, Serge. We do have another question about the retail banking. We are in retail banking with operation across several countries. What is the best way to acquire a liveness solution for big players like us? Do we need to search for a vendor in each country, or is there a possibility to scale one solution across all of our countries? What the implications would be in this case?
That's a very good question. Obviously, you don't need to look for multiple liveness solution providers. What you need to be aware of, is the legislative aspect, right? So as regulation differs from country to country, that would probably influence your decision of whether or not you want a software as a service solution in one country and then mixed up with on-premise solution with another country. And this is why having a vendor that can offer both cloud delivery and on-premise delivery is so important. But definitely you can use a single provider across all of your countries.
Well, it seems that we have another question. Well, we do have about the ATMs as well, the technical questions. I would like Yuri to comment it. We have a proprietary browser based on Chromium running on ATMs. Will your liveness solution work under this context?
Yep, colleagues, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, of course, you can use our web SDK on ATMs. There will be some aspects that will be different, of course, on ATMs comparing to mobile phones. But yes, you can use.
Well, thank you, Yuri. It seems that we are running out of questions right now. If you still have the questions, you're welcome to ask, and we will be happy to answer.
And yes, not to forget, we will be sending all of your questions with our answers, as well as the slide deck after the webinar is finished.
Yeah, it seems that we don't have any questions right now. Welcome to connect with us. And I see that our assistants already share all the necessary links that you asked before. So please contact us. We will be happy to collaborate, and also we'll send you back the recording of our webinar. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, Serge, for your speakers today.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day or a good night. And yes, happy to hear back from you very soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.